Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our third session of Jumping Back In. My name is Ashley Ellerby, and I'm the Business Solutions Specialist at Gordon Food Service. I will be the moderator for today's session. Today, we will hear from a panel of leaders in the restaurant industry who will discuss some of their approaches to current issues in the ever-changing landscape that the restaurant industry is currently facing. Before allowing each panelist to introduce themselves, there are a couple of housekeeping notes that I need to cover. So just as a reminder, this is a webinar, so you can hear and see us, but we cannot hear you. We highly encourage engagement during the session from our team, from our audience. So if you have any questions during the session, please do not hesitate to type your question in the questions chat box on the right-hand side of your screen. I'll be moderating that throughout the session so that we can get those questions answered as they come in. And if we do miss a question or we run out of time, don't worry, because we're going to be sending out this recording and we'll be able to follow up with the panelists and make sure we get those questions answered and back to you. So without further ado, I'm going to allow each panelist to give a quick introduction, starting with Kirk Williamson.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kirk Williamson. I run operations for Adair Concepts, the Adair family. We have 12 restaurants, 7 different concepts. Been with them about a year and a half. Prior to that, I spent 15 years with Brinker International, oversaw Rockfish and Chili's while I was there. I'm married, 3 daughters, longtime resident of the Woodlands, U of H grad. And we have 4 dogs, and so hopefully we don't get a delivery during this webinar. 2 of them are rescue dogs. They get a little loud sometimes, but glad to be with you this afternoon.
Awesome, thank you, Kirk. And then we have Phillip Sitter.
Hi, I'm Phillip Sitter. I'm the owner and the president of the Kings Group. So we have 4 concepts here in Houston, Texas, and I'm also the founder and CEO of VIP Insiders. And VIP Insiders creates loyalty and rewards platforms for restaurants, independent restaurants all over the nation, Mexico and Canada.
Perfect. And then Melissa Stewart.
Hi there. I am Melissa Stewart. I'm a native Houstonian. My current role is as Executive Director for the Greater Houston Restaurant Association, which is a chapter of the Texas Restaurant Association. Just thrilled to be here. And Kirk, you are the first person I've met that matches me for number of dogs. And so disclaimer, should, a squirrel run by or any of the other fun stuff, it gets a little rowdy here. I've been with the association for about 7 years. By far, this has been the most challenging 6 months. And just super excited to kind of talk with y'all and talk about some of the innovations we've come up with and how we're all going to make it to the other side.
Great, thank you so much. All right, so we've got, Kirk is going to kind of handle some of our operations questions. Everybody can jump in at any time, but I know Phillip has some specific marketing information that he wants to share, and then I know Melissa's got a lot of information on resources within the city. So to get started, I guess we're going to start with you, Melissa. If you can just explain to everyone, how can the Greater Houston Restaurant Association support local businesses during this time, and what are some of the resources available?
Absolutely. So it's never been a mystery that it is very challenging to be an owner-operator. You have to be so good at so many things, and that's before any of this mess hit. Now what we've asked you to do is, in addition to your usual logistics and HR management and building facility management and customer relations and all that, now you have to be an expert on banking and tax code at a whole new level. And you have to know how to do all the interpret bills from Congress and rules from the governor, and maybe a rule from 2 or 3 different municipalities, depending on where you're staying. So it is overwhelming and really tough. And so what we are doing right now, we're doing several things, but a couple of things that are most helpful is at txrestaurant.org. There's a hot link on that front page, and Ashley, I think you're going to send this out to everyone. But it's a COVID resource page, and it's not behind a firewall, so everybody can access it. We've been working so hard from minute 1 to try and make sure that our voices are heard. Our industry has been hit harder than any other industry. We are the one that keeps getting pointed to as the problem children, which we are not. We've always been in safety and sanitation. COVID is not a food transmitted disease. So that's one resource. So through that resource, what you're going to see are links to webinars and seminars and fact sheets and things that cover all sorts of stuff, from the PPP to some of these really insane Department of Labor rules you're having to follow, making sure that if you have an employee who tests positive with COVID or has to be out for COVID reasons, you understand what they're eligible for as far as the, say, paid sick leave, and how do you get your tax credit back on that. So just a lot of that really mechanical, technical stuff, that's a resource for you there. I would say behind the scenes, but it's not behind the scenes because I'll stand in front of anybody and do it. We're talking to every elected official who will keep answering our calls, and most of them are, and just making sure they understand the critical nature of restaurants in our communities, not only as employers, but also as a major part of the food supply chain. Before, when this first happened, when we were looking at statistics, we recognized that in the Houston area, about 54 cents of every food dollar was being spent through a restaurant. So whenever we do things that impact restaurants, that starts cutting down where people can get food. And we all, if you're from the area, we have quite a few food deserts where it's really tough for people because of transportation and roadways to get to a regular traditional grocery market. So some of the small restaurants and small convenience stores really are having to fill that need. So we've worked very, very hard advocating for things that we know we need. We have a Texas restaurant survival plan that's got several asks up with the governor. A couple of them we've gotten, which I'm really pleased about. But just always trying to be there so that when decisions are being made about our industry, we are your voice to the folks making those decisions.
And, for others on this call that are not in the Houston area, Melissa, are you aware of the associations in other major cities that they're doing similar projects or working on similar things?
Absolutely. So one of the great things is all throughout Texas, we have a state restaurant association. We have 22 chapters across the state. So everything kind of goes up and out through our state. And we have an affiliate relationship with national. So we're actually even working at the national level extensively too. So the resource page I sent you to, it's covering not only a lot of things throughout the state, but it also catches a lot of the national stuff as well. So don't hesitate just because you're not in Houston. We're statewide as well as plugged into the nation.
Awesome. Thank you. And if anyone has questions on any of those resources, just please put those in so we can ask those throughout the session. So Kirk, this question is kind of directed towards you. I know this is something that we've talked about probably on every session, but it's something that's ever changing. We know that the safety of our people is most important. So what new safety precautions have you put in place for employees as well as customers to make them feel safe dining in at some of your restaurants?
Yeah, so I think the first thing that me personally, I've worked real hard to make sure I understand I have as much information and understand as much as I can about the virus and things that need to happen, our responsibilities as restaurateurs. The CDC has put out some guidelines. Those have changed along the way. I think the Houston Restaurant Association and the Texas Restaurant Association have been a great resource for us as far as getting information on what we should do. Cleanliness and sanitation is huge. That is something you can't miss on anymore. I mean, it's obviously always been a very important piece, but today more than ever, the guest is expecting you to make sure that you're providing, the safest environment for them to come in, and as well as for the team members. We have different things as far as tools for the managers. They temp the team members when they come in. They have a checklist of questions to ask them. The list of symptoms is on there. And we just try to err on the side of caution. If anybody's experiencing anything that could remotely be anything close to the virus, and then we send them home, get them checked out, and once they're good to go, then obviously they come back. So I think that's pretty much it. It just, I think that the one thing about cleanliness and sanitation that we try to do is obviously we keep a clean restaurant, but we also try to make that visible to the guest. And so we're clean during the shift, all the touch points, we do a really good job, thorough job of a table once someone gets up. We obviously have disposable menus, and so we want that to be as visible to the guests as possible. Again, most of the guests that are going out feel comfortable going out, but there's still a segment of the population that's going out that they're still not quite sure about things, and the more we can ease that fear, the better their experience is going to be.
Absolutely. Thank you. So I guess kind of on that realm, so what is your, and I get any of you guys really can answer this, but what has your takeout and delivery looks like since the beginning of July? I know that we were kind of going backwards a little bit, and so we had a spike at the beginning of July, end of June. So is that something that is just still a main streamline part of your business right now, or is that tapering off?
Well, so for us, we, at the beginning of this deal, like everyone else, we had to change our business model. We went from a restaurant did a little bit of to-go business and a little bit of delivery to 100% that's how we were going to survive. And I clearly remember those first couple, 2, 3 Friday nights. There's some bumps and bruises that I still have from that. And we had a lot to learn. But through that process, we got really, really efficient with it, and we've carried those learnings forward. So as the restaurants, the dining room started opening up 25%, 50%, 75, now back to 50. The to-go tapered off a little bit, but in the last 3 weeks, we've seen that kind of jump up again. And I guess the other thing on to-go that we did is I had one third-party delivery service. And through the process, now I have 4. And I found that they were very aggressive with their pricing compared to what they were in the past. And so we do all 4 now, and just try to give the guests an outlet, any way they can to get something to go. We didn't used to do curbside. We do curbside now. That's something that's here to stay. Guests can go online, pay their order, place their order, come by, pick it up, never get out of their car. So it's still a big part. It's about 35% of our sales right now. And before this thing started, it was maybe 10%.
So if I could just jump on to a couple of things Kirk said. Even before there was that formal go back to 50%, as soon as Judge Hidalgo raised us to the first, I don't know if we're number 1 or 4, anyway, the red level, we immediately saw, just as you said, people stopped coming into the dining room. And y'all are just a great example, because turning quickly and figuring out how to do curbside and what menu items worked and what menu items didn't work has been a big thing. Hopefully alcohol to go. If you sell alcohol, hope you spread all the waivers and you're doing that, because that is a huge lifeline, not only for our profitability, but also for all of our providers. It's been a killer for our craft beer. We're working on some growler stuff. And, there's just some really great things. I will say that throwing no shade at any of our third-party delivery systems, one of my biggest messages when I talk to the community is go pick it up, call them, order directly, give yourself that 10-minute vacation in your car where you don't have to take anybody or see anybody. You get your food faster, hotter, and it puts a lot more money back in the restaurant's pocket. It lets them keep that money. So, the curbside has been something that we're hoping that our community really sticks with, and we've seen them bounce back. I think some of the challenge at the moment is that, revenue. It's just for that people, do people have money to spend eating out? And we've kind of doubled down back with the mayor's office and the council people on the whole take us to your table message, because we know that y'all have gotten very good at it, and we want to make sure that we don't, if we have people who don't feel comfortable coming into the dining rooms, or they're being pretty wildly encouraged not to do it, that they don't forget about us altogether. So we've kind of gone back to a lot of the messaging we were doing in early April.
Great. You guys kind of answered my follow-up question, which was, is any of this here to stay permanently? Kirk kind of alluded to curbside is here to stay. We know right now that the alcohol hopefully is here to stay, sales to go. So is that something, so the curbside will continue? Is there anything else, Kirk, that you guys have learned that you're going to definitely continue for the future, even when all this mess is over?
It's a very fluid situation. So I've been doing this all my life, and these last, whatever, 4, 5, 6 months have been the most challenging that I've ever faced in my whole career. And there's nothing I could even compare it to. And, you think you got something figured out, and then something changes the next day, and, the rules change or whatever. So I'd say, partly an answer to your question is TBD. I mean, I don't know what the new normal is going to look like. I don't know when we're going to get to the new normal. But I have a feeling we're not done yet. I mean, I think there's going to be continued changes to the way we conduct business, and we're just going to have to continue to adapt to those and just be prepared for those. And so that's how I would answer that question, I guess.
It's great. I guess we'll stay tuned. All right, so this question is going to kind of lead over to some of the stuff that Philip was talking about. So in the quest of killing time, seeking information, and calming ourselves more and more, people are turning to online content. In fact, a report by Facebook revealed that there's been a 70% increase in time spent on the Facebook application. So how has that changed or evolved for you in marketing your restaurant during this pandemic? And I guess, you guys can all answer this, but I noticed that Philip has some specific information that he wants to share.
Yeah, so, my perspective is interesting because not only are we on the technology side of things with loyalty and rewards and marketing and all that, but I'm also a restaurateur. So I have the perspective of being able to see operationally what's working, and then being able to practice that, and then be able to market that and help our restaurant clients all over the nation market their restaurants and their businesses better. So, like the Facebook report showed, is there's going to be a lot more people on social media. And I think what's been challenging about social media, it's, think about this, just visualize you advertising on social media right now, right? You had the protests going on, you have COVID going on, you have everyone's political opinion going on, and there's your ad, right? There's your ad about Sunday brunch. So it sounds a little silly, right? You're just like, not so sure if it's socially acceptable to be advertising your restaurant and what you want to do, And so that's made us, and we have a whole team. We're fortunate enough in our restaurant group that we have 4 people that are working on marketing just for our restaurant groups, right? And we've kind of re-engineered exactly how we talk on social media and what's been working, right? It's less, here's a new menu item, and it's more what I would call humanizing the business. And Ashley, we can go take a look, and if you want to take a look at an example, if you can pull up that screen, if that's possible. And just a tip and a pro tip that we really saw, and how we've been able to kind of on our restaurant side hack the Facebook algorithm, if you will, is long form messages, okay? And long form messages, for example, are kind of like if you, Kirk, or if the owner of the business is on the call today, if you were to send a message, or if you were to write your story with the Facebook post, how would that look, right? It wouldn't look, hey, Sunday brunch is back, right? That's not the message that we're talking about. The message that we are talking about for extreme engagement today on social media is a long form letter. And that would be in the voice of Kirk, in the voice of myself, in the voice of the owner, in the voice of the general manager, letting them know about what you're experiencing. So that's perfect. Let's pull up the one that we posted today. So go ahead and scroll down. Everyone take a look at the screen. This is one of my restaurants that I own, King's Beer Garden Restaurant. We're going to go back to the video. Let's scroll down for a second there, Ashley.
Okay.
So this post today, okay, so let's look at the engagement right there. So this was posted about 2 hours ago, if you can see right there. This is a long form sales letter, right? This is telling people that we're back and that we remodeled. This was posted 2 hours ago. So let's scroll down on the engagement real quick. So in the last 2 hours, just this post alone, we have 659 likes, 204 comments, 72 shares, right? Which if you know about Facebook, and if you struggle with social media, and I just want to tell you, I'm anti-social media, right? And I'll tell you why in a little bit, but it has its purpose. And so if you wonder how we get that engagement, let's take a look at the copy and the content. So scroll right back up there, Ashley, and I want to show the content of the letter. So this is in the voice of my dad, Hans, right? This is a long letter. We're back better than ever. Would like to invite you and your friends and family. Our history, you see there in right there in 2011, then in 2012. So these letters hacks the Facebook algorithm because, and it's important, right? The reason why is because Facebook, it takes your content and says, what's a business promotion and what's something that's humanized and sounds like a person is saying it. Well, this type of post, a long post, gives you free engagement. If you take a look at our other posts, we only have 20 likes, 15 likes, so forth and so on. So the question becomes, well, why is this one so popular? And it really has to do with Facebook picking and choosing what it's going to show to your customers, right? And so take a long form sales letter, screenshot our restaurant name, King's Beer Garden and Restaurant. You'll see the examples of a very low, and we did not pay to boost this. This is just us posting. This is not us spending an ad budget. So take a look at the difference between a long form sales letter and take the look of the difference of just a post about Sunday brunch. And you can take a look at it just at our very own Facebook. Another tool, if you go scroll up to the top, Ashley, and I want to show you, oh, right there to the video. Go ahead and click see more on the video, or right here. Yeah, it's perfect. Yep. So this video also has incredible engagement. We can take a look at the engagement there. Yep, right here, 927 likes, 256 comments, 258 shares. Again, why? Because this video, if you were to watch it, is my dad and myself taking the customer on a tour of the restaurant. This is not a professionally done video. There's no editing. It's an iPhone following us through our restaurant. Okay, you don't have to have a camera crew. You don't have to have a full marketing team. If you represent your restaurant, or your general manager represents your restaurant, or you just take your iPhone and video the bartender making your margarita, I'm telling you right now, because of that engagement stat that Ashley said, where 71% increase of engagement, not engagement, but of viewership for Facebook, the question is, what content do I show them? And it does not have to be professional. This is not a professional video by any means. But what it does is give you the opportunity to humanize your business. Think of it as like taking a sneak peek or taking a behind the scenes type of approach to your business. If with Kirk, I would let them know who I am. I'm the CEO of this restaurant brand. I would tell them a message from the heart. Times have been tough. This is what we're doing. This is our sanitation procedures. We want to welcome you back, and we want to show you what we're doing, and take a video of the sanitation procedures that they're doing, right? Show them the safety. And think about it, it's something that not all the other restaurants are doing. So you'll lead the pack on that, but also it's something that Facebook right now is actually promoting, where these long form sales letters, these behind the scenes videos would make a big impact. So on the restaurant side of things, I've noticed this has been a huge benefit. So all of our posts now are long form, and because it's been really working, it doesn't cost you anything to do. You don't need to boost or advertise. I promise you it'll work effectively for you. Another big post, if you guys are really reinvesting in keeping your restaurant open, and if you're proud of the fact that you've been able to keep your employees on, if you're proud of the fact that you've been able to keep your managers on and not furlough people, post about it. Tell people how it's been a struggle for you. Tell people that you decided to give back to your community. Tell people that you're deciding to help your employees stay, with a job. Because I'm telling you, that's the type of difference right now that's going to separate you from just a restaurant into a neighborhood brand and somebody that deserves to be in business. And customers are being very conscious of who deserves to have your business and who doesn't, right? And so that's going to be a huge takeaway that I hope that added some value for you guys today.
Can I add a couple of things just to piggyback on some of Philip's things? One of our challenges is that for so many of our restaurants, it's more than just a meal. It's a celebration. It's an event. It's it's the community, right? We are the cornerstones of the community. Some really successful and interesting things that we're seeing out there are where you pair up the stuff that engage your customers on site, but you use technology, and it's very inexpensive. I'm going to use a Louisiana example so none of my Texas people come yell at me. But Commander's Palace in New Orleans, right? 600 tables. It's huge. It's the place. You know, it's very celebratory, and they're not going to pivot to go. That's not that brand. But they do want to stay connected to their community. They do want, obviously, keep people employed and all those good things. So one of the things they've started doing is a tasting where they do a wine cheese pairing. You buy it online, and you can buy it at different levels. And you can either drive by and pick it up. They have a limited delivery in New Orleans, but they also have some delivery to some other small cities around. You can go to the liquor store and you pick it up. And it was very innovative there. But then everybody sits down, and the sommelier walks them through this tasting with that, and it's just a super community connection. And you can do that with so many interesting things, and it's just a fun way to bring people together. So, you know, think about, do you add a tasting pack or something, maybe, a lot of people are doing Zoom happy hours, and, coordinate something with that. Take a video of your staff putting a menu together or making a drink, as Phillip said. These are all ways to remind them of how much fun and how much they love being in your restaurant, because at some point we are going to get to go back, and we want people to break back out of this habit of staying home. Right now you need to stay home, but at some point we want you to come back and hang out and have that community, and that visceral feel is something you can create very inexpensively. Computer camera, iPhone camera, doesn't have to be super shiny, because the raw is okay, as long as it's not obscene or dirty or something. Rough is okay, and it connects to your people. Maybe if you were known for the engagement place, or you were the happy birthday place, is there a way that you can take your staff, somebody can check, hey, it's my kid's birthday, can I get a quick video? Or just little things like that remind them that you are in the community with them. You're not just a business. And those are all, pretty inexpensive and, kind of fun to do too, and things that, hopefully will last. So that, something that we can continue on as new revenue sources and revenue streams as we move beyond this.
So,
go ahead. We do have a couple of questions, but go ahead.
On that piece, I want to point out something that would be some value for restaurants. So our places are exactly what you just described, besides our Egg House Gourmet, which is a fast casual breakfast concept. I'll tell you, I did a rosé party, and I know the first thing you think is like, okay, they're doing an event during COVID. Our sales that day increased 300%, right? Our sales actually beat last year Saturday when there was no COVID, okay? And the reason being is because right now everyone's a commodity, like everything is, right? Is like, okay, I'm just going to order from them because I want Mexican food. I'm just going to order from them because I want a salad. If you do have the space and available, it is actually a great time to do an event. It's a great time to do a tequila tasting. It's a great time to do a rosé party. It's a great time to do exactly kind of a sommelier. Yes, you're not going to be at the same occupancy. Yes, you're going to have to take reservations. Yes, all the social distancing is going to have to be put in place. But people right now are they're just begging for something to do. Okay, the ones who don't want to do something are not coming. So you don't have to worry about those people. But the ones that do, are gonna, come to your door, and you're gonna have to turn them back. And that's what we've had to do, right? And so we still are doing events. We're just having to put all the protocols in place and make a reservation. Another point that we actually, since we did get this, and you can do this, we've seen this with our platform, one of the VIP Insiders, we build these platforms and we use text message marketing, but you could do email, whatever you want to do. We actually sold $40,000 in 3 days of our whiskey cocktail bottled in a mason jar, right? And it was just something that we're known for. So, we've actually helped other businesses on our technology side sell their famous banana pudding in jars, sell it through text messaging, sell it through email. There's a few creative ways that you can do kind of pre-sale sales. But two things I just want to say on that is, right, is like you can still do events. Don't feel like you can't, right? Just make sure that everything's in place and let people know about that. And number two, you can sell things online. Like you can sell things through email. You can sell things through text messaging. We've done it with crawfish. We've done it with desserts. We've done it with the King's Whiskey, which was our biggest success. but there's ways to do it. And, we can share all the resources and everything. And we have guides and videos on how to sell things through text messaging and email and everything else.
That's kind of like one of those sweetened deals. I know, Kirk, you guys have had a lot of success with the Margaritas To Go. So I guess that's kind of playing off of one of those things that maybe could stay forever, hopefully.
The guest just loves it. And, now that we can do individual drinks, we're working on some different things with the ranch water and, some summer specials with that. But on Friday night, our curbside, there'll be a line of 12 cars and they'll get the family packs and a pitcher of margaritas and got out of the house, like Melissa said, for 10, 15 minutes. And I remember one night, early on when we were just doing to go, and it was taking a little while to get the food out. And I apologized to a guy in the car. He goes, "Hey, I'd just be sitting at home. I don't mind."
Yeah.
People were pretty understanding at the beginning, and so that was great. But I hope that one sticks. That was a lifesaver for a lot of us to have those alcohol sales and what it does to the check average. And again, going forward, you talk about things that will stick. That's one of those things where, maybe on a Friday night, someone doesn't want to go out, but they want to have a nice meal and they want to have, cocktail or margarita with it and stay at home. And it's been great to be able to provide that for them.
So I think right now we have some food boards, a weird phrase, but they're just, if you can give them something to be excited about, an interesting meal pack or, a new cocktail or just it is a time to be doing specials. It is a time to be doing something eventy, whether it's in-house or out of house, because the fatigue is so set in. And so you kind of want to reinvite them and recreate that desire for right now. What's going to prompt me to choose this restaurant today? And it could just be a Facebook post that says, "Hey, have you been looking for our margaritas?" Or, the season's almost over, don't miss out on crawfish, or whatever it needs to be. But giving folks something to be, first of all, just mentally, it's great. It gives everyone something to look forward to and kind of, oh, that would be so cool. I can't wait till Friday. But it does, you do have to kind of recreate that demand, like boredom bubble.
So we have a question kind of around some of those sweetened sales like alcohol. So this comes from someone on the webinar. It says, "I own a small mom and pop restaurant. We were partnered with a craft beer place next door to us. Since COVID, they have now closed. We have never applied for a liquor license with this partnership. Do you have any advice on how to be able to sell alcohol ASAP? Seems like applications are processed slow, if any at all. So just need to know if your recommendation is to aggressively try to get our liquor license."
Liquor licensing has never been easy. By design, it's intended to be hard because we want only good operators to have it. I would probably, I'd be glad to talk with you online, offline about this. Because you always have to weigh it out. Is it worth the expense? Is it, the long-term thing? But there's probably a good chance that even just a beer wine license where you could partner with some other craft breweries to do growlers and things may be worth it, maybe a little bit easier to get. Just depends on how much volume and cash you think you can get through that to see if it'd be worth your effort. Just like almost anything, really.
Yeah, the only piece that my mind would take me to is see if I could give it away for free and add it as part of the family pack, is where you give out free. I know a lot of barbecue joints that would give out free beer because of just many reasons, but you could give it out free and just make it part of that. But I don't know what state you're in, or I would just double check with my local attorney for that. But I think giving out the free route, if you're talking about, I want to do it tomorrow, I would take a look at giving it a free route. You could just add it as part of the food price.
Yeah. Tastings and samplings have a lot of options around.
Yeah,
Be
that's
careful.
the only. Yeah.
Take a quick day that's going to have ramifications that would negatively impact you later if you wanted to make different choices. But the TABC, I will say, they are law and order, but they are really, really trying to be flexible and working good partners. So, we've gone to them with a lot of, if you had said truly 6 months ago, "Hey, on Friday night, I'm going to go get a gallon of margaritas at Gringo's and drive it home," they would have laughed and laughed. And now, you know, I can do that all over the place.
Exactly. This is a question, I guess, for the social media piece, Philip. Says Coca-Cola Distribution Center is a huge customer of ours. Could we give them a shout out on our business page? I know Coca-Cola has a huge following, but not sure if that's overstepping to kind of utilize some of the following that that company has on their page. You know, if that would be, that's something that
Yeah,
they could
so
do.
you know, I think we've done some hospital drops, and we partner with Gordon Foods in our drops and everything else, and we shout out Gordon Foods, they shout us. I think it's really, people are looking for forms of entertainment, and anything that you like. I don't think anything is wrong with the shout out for Coca-Cola, right? And I think that anything where it's like, hey, we're shouting this person out because all the great things that they've done, if that's the kind of the route that you're taking on, absolutely. Start removing the veil of business, right? Like, you think of like Gordon Foods, and you think this massive company, right? But it's truly not, because it's built with a company of, you know, people, and those people have departments, and those departments all have their initiatives, and all those people have hearts, and all those people are doing great things. So the more we tell the story about the great things that we're doing, and the more, you know, customers won't know. Customers don't know that, for this example, that Coca-Cola is an incredible vendor and they've done XYZ for the community, right? And so the more and more you do that, and the more you humanize your business and let people into the internal workings of your business, there's no downside to that, especially when people are like online and they're just, you know, curious on what's going on, right? People's curiosity is huge at this moment, right? They're just interested what your views are. They're interested on, you know, how businesses are operating. They're interested in career choices and career changes. So I think anything where, you know, you like remove the veil would be important, or could be great content.
Great. No, I think that's a great answer. I guess kind of moving over to a little bit of a different subject, and then we'll get back to some technology. So supply chain has been a challenge this summer for all of us. I guess specifically to you, Kirk, how are you guys navigating this landscape with your menu?
Yeah, so going back to the very beginning with the To Go, we went with a limited menu just to help with the execution and the labor piece in the kitchen. So there's been some challenges with the supply chain for sure. We have really our two main vendors are Gordon's and Brothers, and obviously excellent partners to have. I'd say the key has been communication. You know, we meet with you all, Gordon's, every week, talk about issues and potential issues that are coming up. I probably get 5, 6, 7, 8 emails a day on different things, and what's always been good is that, okay, hey, this is a potential issue coming up, but here's a solution we can look at. And we've been able to navigate through it pretty good. We haven't, you know, knock on wood, we haven't been out of anything. We've had some substitutions. We trim our fajitas now. We didn't used to trim our own meat, you know. So there's been some minor adjustments we've had to make. We've tried to be real flexible. Our vendors have come through with you know, good alternatives if something is out or we can't get to it. Paper supplies was an issue for a while as well. So you know, it's just one of those things as we've navigated through this whole issue is we've just had to deal with. And I guess some of it I'm just getting numb to or used to, because I don't even think twice about it when I get an email. It's okay, yeah, let us look at that product, and that'll be a good alternative. But I think having the great partners, that's the key to this whole thing.
One thing I'd add to this, and it actually it ties what Phil's been saying in with what Kirk just said, is don't be afraid to tell your customers the truth. We have some dishes that don't travel well. They just say they're not going to make it from the restaurant to the home and have anything good to say about it. And so for a while, maybe those need to come off the menu for To Go. Or, you know, for a while, you know, we've had some things that just got so priced out of the market, it just didn't make sense to even have it on the menu, or it's too complicated to do. We've had really good responses when I've talked to, when I get calls from customers. They'll call and ask me, why is this menu item, what happened, or, you know, are we out of beef or something weird like that. But an honest and fairly transparent of, we are trying to do everything we can with the staff we have to practice social distancing, and some menu items just don't work right now, or whatever the honest answer is. Your customers want to hear that. And again, you're bringing them into the fold. You're letting them see, like, hey, we're in this together. We need you. You need us. Here's how we're going to, share that information. Great partnerships are critical. And, Kirk, thank you for mentioning, some really important partners and how you've got to read those emails and see what you can do. There's a lot of options there. But, don't hide it from your customers. If there's a reason that you've dropped X menu item, which is 7 people's favorite thing, and it's temporary, let them know, because otherwise, if they don't know from you what the answer is, they're going to potentially go out on Facebook or Nextdoor. Gosh forbid, Nextdoor is even worse, if you get everyone going. And, oh, this isn't there anymore, and I guess they're not carrying it, and it's a whole mess. So if there's some logic behind maybe why some menu changes have happened, if you can graciously put that out there, I think it helps your customer.
We have a kind of a question about that. So it says, we're a burger place and the bacon that we normally use is now unavailable. We first took a step down on the bacon quality, but we didn't like that our quality was down. So now we started using a higher end bacon, a step above what we originally used. Is it smarter to go up or down with cost and quality?
Yeah, so we have 400 restaurant clients, and we talk about, we try to get a good picture on what's happening. And one of the things that we actually notice has been a huge benefit is customers are not nearly as price sensitive as you think they are. You can actually raise your price. You can absolutely raise your price and let people know that you have a better quality product. And I know that feels weird because we have the kind of like the feeling of the 2008, 2009 recession when we all were like incredibly price sensitive. But for example, some of our clients used to do a $15 steak night. Now their steak night is $20 steak night, and they have just as many customers in it. And then we interview them. We're like, hey, how did that go? Because we see the marketing that they're doing on our platforms, and they say that people are responding incredibly well to it. And in our own restaurants, we've raised the price. And then to your point, we've removed things as well. If I have to decide between the integrity of my product or not, like, just remove the product at that point, right? Don't lower the quality of it and charge the same. If anything, make it better, charge more, or remove it entirely is our stance on both sides.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with Philip on this. And it does feel a little funny in light of what's going on. But if you look at everything and look at To Go and the cost of To Go, look at third-party delivery and the cost of third-party, look at the cost of protein, the increases that we're seeing in proteins and other items across the board. We absorbed all of that for as long as we could absorb it, and then we had to make a decision. It's never easy decision to make take a price increase, and never a fun thing to do. But I guess I would tell you we haven't really heard anything about it. So back to Philip's point about that it's accepting it. It seems to have been. We're not going to get drunk on price increasing, and look to do another one. But we had to do one. We had because we had some of those same issues as the bacon example, and again, a lot of our costs have increased over this time, and we had to pass some of that on.
That's great advice. So customers are not as price sensitive. That's good. So kind of switching gears back to technology, we've talked on a previous session about QR codes and how important those are. And, a lot of questions came through with the paper menus and the waste of the paper and all the printing fees that restaurants are incurred with now. So I'm actually going to let Philip talk a little bit about QR codes. And if you guys have anything, you can jump in as well. But I'll go ahead and share my screen, Philip.
Yeah, so what we did, and we did a study with all of our restaurant clients and their customers, a little over 11,000 people, and then that was featured on Bloomberg and Forbes and a lot of other major publications. And one of the points that I thought was interesting was this stat right here, which is 76% of customers want a digital menu option when dining out with their family. Now, that doesn't mean that every customer wants a digital menu option, and it certainly doesn't mean that you don't need paper menus, right? But it was interesting to see that when dining out with their family, just like all things, you don't have a menu that just has meat on it. You probably have a salad, and you probably have a few other things for kind of, that general appeasement of everybody. This was actually interesting to me. that those 76% of customers want a digital menu option. And so what we did is we partnered with Gordon Foods to make an absolute free service from stem to stern, where we will do those QSR code menu for you completely. So if you want to go to the next slide, it'll show you what that looks like. So what we do for Gordon Food Service customers here is we create and host QR code menus. We optimize those menus for digital format. We host those menus online, so you're not going to have to do anything to your website. You're not going to have to hire a webmaster. We take all that. And then we even have a team of graphic designers that will develop stickers for your tables, handouts, customize it to completely your brand. And because it is a Gordon Food Service thing, it is absolutely free. We don't charge a month from now. We don't charge 6 months, 10 years from now. This is just something that we do together with Gordon Foods. And we'll go to that next slide here. That's how it looks, a sticker and a handout. And here's this slide is really important because a lot of people miss the mark on this. What they do is they do QR code and straight to your menu, right? That middle piece is really the tech piece. That middle piece, you have a lunch menu, a dinner menu, a dessert menu, a bar menu. You probably have a lot of menus. And some of our customers, what they've done is they actually had multiple QR codes for multiple menus, which made no sense. So we designed that landing page. We put all your menus on there. And if you ever need an update, you just email your account representative. They'll update your menus because it is something that's changing all the time. Your menu from today may be different from your menu 2 weeks from now. So you don't want to just go print a new QR code. So again, if you go to the next slide, I think I have the information there. If any of you guys, yeah, so right there, if you take a screenshot of that or take a photo of that, if you have digitized my menu, it'll ask you if you're a Gordon Food Service customer. You click that, you'll take priority, and we'll do completely free. Turnaround time is about 24 hours. And all you'll need to do is really print the stickers and print the handout. So that's something that we do. And again, it really came from the notion of customers want this, and the last thing restaurateurs want to do is go spend another dollar on something, or the last thing they want to do is actually go hire 4 different people to do this, right? And what we actually did in the Heights location, because it's a little bit progressive, we don't even pass out print menus anymore. We only give out print menus per request because we were spending, I think we were printing 2,000 menus, 2,000 to 3,000 per week. So you know what I said, I was like, you know what, put all the QR codes on the tables, and if somebody wants a menu, they'll get it. Otherwise, they're just going to have to get used to what we call the new normal. And it's actually worked really well. My print cost went down 90%. So it's a complete no-brainer on that case. But we were just spending a ton of money on printed menus, and now we're happy to do this for Gordon Food Service partners.
Great, and I will send the link with the follow-up recording in the email so that everyone has that in case you were not able to take a screenshot or get that jotted down. I'm going to check in to see if we have any questions. Yeah, we actually have a question about the QR codes. It says, have you found that older customers are also comfortable with QR codes as well, or how does that work?
So I can't even generalize on this because some people my age, they don't want to do the QR codes, they want a print menu, right? So it's really hard to say. And I think it's not even really about your customer base, it's just about having the option, right? And the Heights is right outside of downtown Houston. I know that my customer base is a little bit more progressive in that case. So that's why I removed print menus entirely and only give them upon request. So it really depends. If you have a bit of an older clientele, I think that you just have to see what they use. But ultimately, it would make sense to say younger people will use QR code menus more than older people, but it really is, it kind of goes to the point of that person's consciousness. Is like, if do they want a print menu compared to do they want it just on their phone? And it's really easy. If you're unfamiliar what to do, if you have an iPhone, you just pull out your camera, you put it on the screen, it'll load to that landing page, and then they can click whichever menu that they want. So I would say everybody needs one. Whether everyone uses one in your restaurants kind of dependent on your customer base.
It's also really a great way. So many of our customers want to pre-select what they want, and so it is a nice way that you can put that QR code out and about, and customers can see your menu and think about what they want ahead of time. And because that's almost mandatory anymore. Nobody wants to show up and be surprised by a menu right now. So it's another nice way to really incorporate that in very easily.
Kirk, I know you guys offer both. Same
Yeah,
thing, just giving the option.
I would say that that's been my experience is, some of the older clientele, and San Felipe Los Tios is a restaurant that, I would say tends to have a little bit of an older clientele, especially at dinner, and they're just more comfortable looking at a paper menu. But back to what Philip said, the printing costs, you talk about another, area that we're spending more money to operate would be printing menus. And so we had to go to the QR code just to cut back on that. And we typically do not bring a menu to a table unless they ask for it. And sometimes they'll ask if I'm at the door, I'll ask if they want it, and I'll bring it. But the QR code is the way to go for sure.
Awesome. If anyone has any other questions at this time, please don't hesitate to type those in. We are kind of coming to the end of our session today. I know we've had a lot of great discussion. This has been recorded, so I will be sending out the recording to everyone. You'll get it same time tomorrow, along with some of the resources that Melissa referenced. I have those links along with the VIP Insiders QR code offer as well. So if anyone has any questions, I'm going to see if any more came in. Does not look like it. Well, I really thank you guys on behalf of Gordon Food Service for joining this and being our panel guests and sharing all the feedback that you have. We definitely have a lot of insight here and a lot of good information to share with other customers and with our colleagues. Anything else? Any closing comments that anybody wants to share?
If I could just say, don't phone. I'm sorry, Kirk. Get help. This is really, if you feel like this feels super hard, not just getting customers and coming up with cash flow, but all the different regulations, get help. Like I said, our resources are available. We stay on top of it all the time. I'm sending out my email with Ashley. Feel free to email my team. We'll work with you as best we can. But this is hard, and you can't know it all. So please, please, please reach out, get help, ask for help. And restaurateurs, y'all are always the most generous community I've ever met. But if nobody's asking, you don't know that you can, share some insights and some help. And I know everybody right now has been very generous in trying to pitch in and keep our industry going strong.
Yeah, and I was pretty much what I was going to say is there's a lot of resources out there. Feel free to reach out to me if I can be of any help. Obviously, Houston Restaurant Association is a great resource. And then, Ashley Gordon's has been a great resource. Neighborhood Network, you helped me partner up with them just recently, and that's been really a great partner to have, especially with our social media piece. So it is tough times. So we're all fighting the same fight, and hopefully this thing gets wrapped up sooner than later.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you for everyone that's on the line attending and for all of the panelists, and hope everyone has a great Wednesday afternoon.
All right. See ya.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.